Guys, and welcome back to my channel. Sorry if there was some weird things going on. I was like, first I saw the timer, then it was black. Then I saw the end of the timer again. I was like, what's happening? Hello there, guys, and welcome back to another stream, to another preview ahead of another Premier League weekend. And I'm excited, but I'm so excited that all the news that have come out today have ruined all of us talking about actual Premier League football, and we have so much news to cover. We will be busy with a lot of that in today's stream, but a lot of that is very, very, very much so relevant news. New technical director, new guy in charge of the medical department, an interview by what's his face, Jonathan Goldstein, who is obviously in the background, part of the consortium that owns Chelsea now, and he's kind of the main guy that we're gonna look to in terms of Stamford Bridge redevelopment or whatever thing we're going to do with Stamford Bridge. Aubameyang news, will he leave again next summer to PSG? All sorts of things kicking off at the moment, but there is a lot to get through. And as you can see, I'm joined by my most regular guest at the moment. Now, we will have different guests tomorrow, but today I'm very glad to welcome my two absolute favorites again. Aaron, I'll start with you. Thank you for being here as always, mate. Weird day. Now, I'm not sure how much you've been able to follow along with it, but I swear every half an hour I look at my phone, there's a new piece of major Chelsea news coming out. What's happening?
Thanks for having me on, man. It's been a busy day. I haven't been able to catch all of it because I've been busy doing a few bits. But yeah, there's never a quiet day with Chelsea, as I said before. It's just there's always something going on. But no, it's quite interesting to see some of the stuff. I did manage to catch the Red Bull geezer. I can't remember his name, and he's out of his contract now, and Chelsea are interested in getting him. I think Matt Law was it that tweeted saying that he will be coming to Chelsea. So that's interesting. And I saw the Aubameyang thing about being linked with PSG, which I find a bit strange because he's only been here a month or two, so a bit early on. Also, the Fofana injury stuff as well. That's a little bit of good news, thankfully, because of what we expected compared to what we've got. It's somewhat of a result. Could have been a lot worse than what it is, so we take those. But yeah, it's just been a hectic day, man. Honestly.
Absolutely. I couldn't have summarized it any better myself, I'm honest, bro. I mean, you said it there. You can't remember his name. The name is Christopher Vivell, or however he likes his surname to be pronounced, but Vivell, basically. Funnily enough, remember we were talking about Christopher Freund, and I was like, oh yeah, my mate knows him, who works at RB Salzburg, or worked. Well, he also knows Vivell, but I did get a little bit less background information because he knew him when he was himself less high up, I suppose. So, and obviously Vivell has since moved on from Salzburg to Leipzig, so hasn't been quite in as close contact with the people I know. So not quite as much in-depth information and inside information as we had the other time, but a couple of pieces I've got for you. A couple of pieces. Nothing outrageous, though. Nothing outrageous. Who is Freddie Murray? Well, we will get to that, Ryan. Appreciate your comment, though. Pice, thank you for being here. As always, similar question as I put for Aaron. Crazy amounts of news. Like, why is that on a random Friday? What? Why?
Yeah, absolutely crazy. So much news, like can't keep up with it. Chelsea do have days like this though. Be really quiet, and then one day, sometimes it's a Monday, sometimes it's the end of the week. Sometimes you just get it in the middle. You never know what's going to happen, and yeah, loads of stuff happens at once, and yeah, there's quite a bit to cover, I'd say.
Absolutely, there is, and I think even though, usually I like to, for the bigger topics, I like to almost wait a little bit for more people to join the stream and stuff. I think with so much news to cover, and then still the Wolves-Chelsea game to cover, obviously, towards the end of the stream as well, I think we might as well just start with the big one. Christopher Vivell will be, now I put like breaking Chelsea a point, not quite made officially yet, but it basically is. It's more official than Christopher Freund was. And it doesn't get much more nearly official than it is right now, basically. Yeah, it has been confirmed by Matt Law. It has been confirmed by others. Chelsea are to appoint Christopher Vivell as their new technical director. To get a little bit of background information, now he is German, as far as I'm aware now. I just read it earlier, but we'll get through it in a minute as well, through the article, and have a bit more of a better, nicer summary. But yeah, he worked at Hoffenheim in the past. Then he worked at RB Salzburg, and then he took the step up to RB Leipzig, which is very, very interesting. All I will say, and before getting into too much detail, what I was told is, compared to Freund, which is interesting because Freund was the guy that was at Salzburg at the lesser of the RB clubs, right? Was very much so the guy for the sporting director role, which is the bigger role than technical director, as far as I'm aware at this moment in time. And my friend who knows them both said, yeah, he thinks it's better that Vivell gets the technical director than the sport director role, because he's a bit like, he's very good, but he's yet to see whether he has, the size boots to fill that kind of role, if that makes sense. But he praised him in all sorts of, manners he can, really, as a guy that's a really good communicator, that's just hard working, like typically German, really, just always on time, always does things right, does things properly. And that's good. And the guy knows what he's doing. The guy is very much hands-on as well, which I think is very important to mention. Now, obviously, Salzburg operate at a very, very different level to what Chelsea will work on. But I'm sure you guys know the guy, Okafor, the Swiss forward that scored Salzburg's goal against Chelsea when we played them in the Champions League. Now, when Salzburg signed him, Vivell sat in his car, drove 6, 7, 8 hours, whatever it is, to Switzerland where Okafor was living, and spent a day or two with his family, getting to know the background, convincing them oh yeah, come here. And apparently he was actually also more involved in getting Erling Haaland to RB Salzburg than Christoph Freund was at the time. Now, Christoph Freund was in charge of the overall thing, but at the time Christopher Vivell was kind of one of his understudies to some extent, you could almost say. But yeah, he actually had more to do with it, if you're being honest with it. But the more interesting bit we'll get to after. But let's stick to just the general role in the first place. Pies. Now, I'm not expecting you to know much about him either, because as for Christoph Freund, not a lot of us will have heard of them before today, if that makes sense. But from what you've read since then, reasonably happy with the appointment, or how are you feeling ahead of it?
I mean, to be honest, mate, I don't really know. I don't like to comment on stuff that I don't really know about. I don't know anything really about him at all. I just know that obviously he was a scout in the past, and really what Matt Law has said is that he will be in charge of scouting and data. So I guess this technical director is going to be sort of, doing the groundwork with Cole McCauley. You mentioned Cole McCauley as well. And then the sporting director will go out and negotiate the transfers, essentially what Todd Boehly was doing. But yeah, it's quite interesting that we're gone for 2 appointments, actually. I quite like it, as long as everyone works together well, because, I mean, it takes the workload off the sporting director massively. The fact that the technical director is going to do the data and scouting. You just got to hope that whoever the sporting director is, that they don't sort of clash in ideas. But I don't think they will. It seems like a very sort of articulate and careful process they're going through, I'd say.
We wanted to get Christoph Freund for the one job, and then Christopher Vivell for the
so
other
I
job,
wouldn't,
and they're both from Red Bull, I guess.
I wouldn't be totally surprised at all if the sporting director ends up somehow having a certain link to this guy we're appointing. So so everyone works together well, I reckon.
Could very much so be the case. Rather than throwing you under the bus, Aaron, let's read through this Athletic article on the appointment of Christopher Vivell to give us, and everyone that might not know as much about him, a bit more of a broader perspective if you haven't had time to read up on things, or maybe are just not subscribed to the Athletic. Christopher Vivell will be appointed as the new technical director at Chelsea. The West London side have been looking to recruit a technical director after Petr Cech departed the club in the summer, which is interesting because Petr Cech wasn't called technical director. He was called technical and performance advisor. But all of a sudden, Petr Cech leaving means we need a technical director. All right. Our terminologies of job descriptions is always very strange. But hey, the process in identifying a candidate is now over, as Vivell looks set to take charge in his new role at Stamford Bridge. Vivell, 35, left former club RB Leipzig on Friday due to differences of opinion. He had held his role with the Bundesliga side since 2020. And that's probably where we should start today, because the first thing we saw earlier this morning was basically the news that RB Leipzig announced that they have parted ways with Christopher Vivell, and then Matt Law going with 2 eye emojis and then hashtag Chelsea, quote tweeting Leipzig's tweet confirming that, he had basically left them. And basically at that moment, we were like, no, okay, something's happening. Now, did we expect it to be nearly announced today? Probably not when that initially happened, but hey, here we are. Owner Todd Boehly was acting as Chelsea's interim sporting director throughout the summer and played a key role in signing 8 players during the transfer window. Chelsea originally held an interest in recruiting the sport director from Red Bull Salzburg, Christoph Freund, who had emerged as the favourite to fill the sport director vacancy at Chelsea. Although he initially refused the role to rule out a move, he later confirmed he would be staying with the Austrian club. Vivell is now likely to play a key role in Chelsea's future recruitment. The Athletic revealed earlier this week that forward Christopher Nkunku, who plays for Leipzig, has signed a pre-contract agreement to join Graham Potter's squad for the 2023-24 season. Chelsea are preparing, blah, 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 doesn't really matter. And then we hear a little something from Raphael Honigstein, who's basically one of the main German Athletic reporters that work within England. What will Vivell bring to Chelsea? And Honigstein says, Vivell has been an integral part of the Red Bull Football Group's successful recruitment network since joining RB Salzburg as head scout in 2015. A sports science graduate of Karlsruhe Institute of Technology and former analytics coordinator at TSG Hoffenheim, Vivell was promoted to head of scouting in Austria before joining Leipzig as technical director in August of 2020. His main focus there has been a long-term squad planning in line with the club's footballing principle. And then basically what I want to highlight the most is this little paragraph here, where it says, of his work, he, being Vivell, says, I'd like to explain it this way. Managers think from game to game, or from one game to the next. Sport directors think from one transfer window to the next. Technical directors think three transfer windows ahead, which is a very interesting way of looking at it, especially if he is the guy himself that words it that way. And I'll take it first back to you, Pies. Aaron, I'll definitely come to you, but I don't want to throw you under the bus with things you're like, oh, I don't know. I haven't had time to look at it. So, Pies, do you agree with me that this is almost the most interesting part here?
Yeah, potentially. I don't really know what to make of that quote, because for me, I'd imagine managers don't like to think 2-3 transfer windows ahead anyway. They want to focus on their squad now. And I mean, I don't know how he can say, well, technical directors think 3 transfer windows ahead. Well, the market changes every year.
I don't think he's doing this as a dig in terms of, okay, they don't have the capabilities. I think what he's trying to do is,
isn't that illogical?
Everyone has their job. A manager is supposed to look game after game. A sporting director is supposed to look transfer window, because with who are we going to sign next? And then technical director, those are the people that do like scouting and data. The background stuff, okay, who are we going to sign in 3 years, basically? I think that's what he's trying to say. Rather than
isn't that illogical,
say, okay, I'm better than others because I have the technical director's job. I don't think that's what he's doing at all, actually.
But isn't that completely illogical unless it's like a really youngster? Like, how do you know? Like, you can't just, I don't know, scout, I don't know, a random youngster, like a random guy now. And then
for 2 years. And now we're signing him.
Yeah, but everyone knew about him though. Like, I don't, and even so, like, how do you know what the squad's going to be like in 3 years? What's the point in scouting a defender if we don't need a defender in 3 years? You know what I mean? The defense might be the least priority in 3 transfer windows. Like, I think that's a stupid quote, to be honest.
I disagree. Like I say, Nkunku, we've been scouting for 2 years, and if once you've been doing at the club for a longer time, you should know. Like, we now know Koulibaly is now 31. So in the next 2 to 3, 4 years, we will, at the very latest, need to replace Koulibaly. You can already start looking at that now. And that's the good scouting. And when you say the word scouting isn't only footballing ability, is it? Like, we know that. Is like scouting is about so much more than just, okay, how good is he at football? Like, you get to know the family, you see their background, how well do they work? Like, are they just talented or do they also work hard? Do you know what I mean? Like, there is so much more to it, I think. Would you disagree with that?
I mean, maybe, yeah, but I just think transfer windows are so circumstantial. Like, I don't get how you can, like, start scouting someone now and then be like, okay, he's ready in 3 years. Well, we might not need him in 3 years. Isn't that then a waste of time? You know what I mean? Like, how do you know what the market and what our financials and what our manager and what our coach is going to be in 3 years?
He's supposed to know. That's probably why it's a difficult job. But he's supposed to know what you need in 2 years, 3 years type thing.
But the same manager might not be here in 2 or 3 years. It's Chelsea, so things might completely change. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, 100%. I don't get it.
Yeah. Now, obviously, he said this while being at RB Salzburg and within the Red Bull franchise, right? It doesn't really matter who the manager is for them. The manager isn't the guy that decides what players they're gonna go after. Like, they have a structure, they have a style of player they're looking after, they have a style of play. Now, sure, they bring a manager in and they make small adjustments that every manager will make, but in the grand scheme of things, they will also appoint managers that suit whatever they're trying to do, if that makes sense. But yeah, I mean, I'm surprised you're saying that, if I'm honest, because if you don't look ahead enough, then I feel like you end up in situations that Chelsea have been in for so long, where you end up buying these backup options and these like, okay, we're trying to sign him. Fuck, he's unavailable. Okay, let's try the next guy. Oh, shit, he's unavailable again. Let's pick 4th choice on our list. Okay, but if you do the groundwork, like with someone like Nkunku, then you get it done before you ever get into those difficult scenarios. And how do you avoid that? By starting early rather than, only 2 months before you try to sign someone, start working on it. Do you know what I mean?
I think it's only relevant to someone that isn't mainstream and that is like, say, like, I don't know, a Brazilian youngster. If you
Oh, yeah.
start scouting him like 3 years in advance and he becomes big, well, then you've done an amazing job because we already did the background work. Like, we already found this guy 2, 3 transfer windows ago, 4, 3 transfer windows ahead. But I don't think it applies so much to players that are already mainstream and that are like lighting it up. Like 2 years ago, and Kunku was still a very, very good player and popular player in world football. It's not like he's a nobody. So I don't really like. I don't know.
But that's the point, though. That's the point, though, because Lukaku wasn't a nobody either, and you didn't need to scout him. But we should have scouted him better to know that it wouldn't work for us, because there is scouting in footballing ability and there is scouting in background, right? And by background, I don't mean just family, but is it going to fit? And it's not just like is it going to fit it personality wise, right? That's part of scouting, and that's when it doesn't. That's when it becomes less relevant in terms of is a player a big name player that everyone knows about and everyone watches on TV every weekend anyway. We can do that, but that doesn't make us know exactly everything about a player. Like for us fans, maybe that's to a significant level or to a sufficient level. But I think to people that work at the club, they want to know way more than that. I mean, Aaron, well, what's your perspective on this? Do you side with Pice on this in terms of who's thinking 3 years in advance for transfer windows? Because I do expect that to be happening at a club. Like I say, like we need to know now when we need to sign. Like, are we next? Like for Koulibaly, do we want to replace him with a young centre back? Do we want to replace him with a top centre back? Do we want to replace him with a like a Koulibaly, another Koulibaly? Do you know what I mean? Who's maybe just slightly past the prime already? Do you know what I mean? Or how do you see that, Aaron?
I kind of agree with both of you actually, in a sense, because I do get the whole perspective of you have to look further into the future to try and like keep up with the curve and make sure you're that one step ahead where you're sort of getting your future secured, bringing in like the younger talents, or thinking, okay, in like a season and a half, 2 seasons, where do we see ourselves being? What kind of positions are we going to need to look to strengthen at some point? You know, when you have aging players, etc. So I get from that perspective. I also get it in the sense of that a lot of the times it is very difficult because football's constantly changing so much. It's so hard to look like 2, 3 seasons into the future, like you said. So it's difficult in that sense. But I think you both have a point there. It's just a case of what kind of way you flip the coin and you look at it. It's they both really make sense, but it just sounds like a very difficult role to be in because it's like you've got an expectation to build for the future, but at the same time, the future changes so much that it's difficult to kind of anticipate what you're going to have to build towards or what you're kind of going to need as well. So it sounds quite difficult, but I do agree with both of you actually.
Fairs. I mean, because Pies, you know why I find it weird? Because didn't we, when we were like, when the Christensen and Brugge thing happened and we were like, at about certain things, like more you than me, I will admit, but I don't want to throw you under the bus too much, criticizing Marina and stuff. Were you not always saying like there's not enough forward thinking, like we don't plan ahead properly? And that's basically what he's saying he's going to be doing. So that's why I'm a little bit confused, because you criticize Marina for not planning ahead enough.
Well, yeah, but Laurenz, it's very difficult to align with a manager 3 years in advance. Like, I don't really understand. Like,
but it's not about the
I
manager.
don't understand
though,
like why
like if you have an idea as a club and you only appoint managers that suit that idea rather than doing what Chelsea have done in the past. Okay, you have Conte and then you bring Sarri, which obviously couldn't be more counter opposites if they tried. Now, of course, if you do that, you're 100% spot on. But judging by the fact that we're trying to do so many things a bit like Red Bull, I very much doubt we're going to do that anymore, if that makes sense. Now, whether Potter stays for the actual 5 years or longer, that's a fair point. We don't know that. It's Chelsea. There's no guarantee of knowing that. But if Potter doesn't work, do you really think we're going to appoint a completely different style of manager? That's the part I don't think. And I don't think that
I couldn't tell you, mate. I couldn't tell you. It's Chelsea.
True,
who knows?
It is Chelsea, but it's also Boehly, and we're trying to do things like Red Bull. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but he might decide in a couple of years that we're not winning enough trophies, and the fans' expectations are starting to get bigger. So he might just appoint a winner or something. I don't know. Like if this guy comes in and asks Graham Potter, "Oh, oh, by the way, mate, do you want this guy to replace Koulibaly in free transfer windows? He's going to laugh at you. Like, how
I
does
don't
he
think
know?
Graham Potter will be involved in that conversation at all in terms of what happens in 3
What,
years.
squad
You know what I
planning?
mean? No.
What, squad planning? I hope
planning,
he
but
is.
for the immediate future, that's what the manager is going to be involved in. The manager is going to be involved in which players we're scouting for potentially in 3 years, because you're going to scout hundreds of players and sign 5 of them. Do you know what I mean? You're not only going to scout 5 and sign all 5.
Well, I want the manager to be involved in everything, to be honest with you. I don't want this guy to be scouting behind his back for players that he might not want in 3 years. That's my point.
Yeah, but I just don't think the manager has time to be involved, especially when you're doing like advanced scouting, especially
Exactly.
young
So
players.
this isn't working together then, is it? This is one guy doing one job, another guy doing another, and Potter doing just being a coach. This is not all aligning together already. That's
Now,
my
see,
concern.
I disagree. Sorry, mate, I disagree, because if you, in the first place, align, okay, my job is, say, I'm Graham Potter. I'm the manager. Okay, I'm going to look at this. You are the technical director. You're going to look at players we might look at in 3 years. We have a conversation beforehand. What type of players do we like? And then he scouts players that are in that type of realm of player. Like how, because you know how you said, why don't we get someone like, let's say Rafinha, when Leeds got him, why can't we get them? Or when Mahrez, like Leicester got him, or Kante, like Leicester got him. If you only look at like 6 months ahead to the next transfer window, you're never going to make that happen. That's only possible if you do the 3 years ahead thing. And I do agree with you. If the structure isn't, if there's not such a system in place like what we're aiming for, but there's no guarantee we will have, then what he's saying here, Vivell, this doesn't work then. You're 100% spot on. But obviously the aim is to make it work, right? And when he said this, he was at Red Bull where it was working, I suppose. So if, of course, we come into a situation where it doesn't work this way, if that makes sense, of course, he will have to do things slightly differently. But if the plan is to, okay, we have the system, that's how we're going to work for the next 5 years or the next 10 years, blah, 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 then, of course, you're going to need a structure in place, I think, anyway. If you disagree, that's obviously absolutely
No, I do agree on that. I just feel like it's, like you just said there, 5-10 years, like, things change in football. Like we might play a style of football for the first couple of years, and then again, as I said, the fans might I don't know, who's to say Potter just isn't another Sarri, you know what I mean? Like who knows if this modern day football is going to work, you know? There's an idea in place, but if it doesn't bring trophies, then at the end of the day, that's what Chelsea's about, and he will have to be more pragmatic, in my opinion. Otherwise, he just won't stay. But for the first couple of years, I think, yeah, absolutely fine. Like, as you said, like looking at profiles, certain profiles, yeah, they'll have an idea, and it's good to go out and scout in advance. But like, I just want everyone's vision to align. I don't want, you know, like I want everything to be sorted and yeah, planned in a way, but like just do it all together. Like here, for me, this quote is kind of like, I mean,
But
I've
can't do it all together because Potter doesn't have that time. Potter's like everyone has a 24-hour day, right? Potter doesn't have the time to look at everything that the technical director does and everything that the sport director does. They will have to be autonomous jobs to do their own thing, and then I don't know, once a month, once a week, once every 2 weeks, however often that will happen, they will sit together and discuss what's happening. You can't be in there for every step. That's impossible.
Yeah, but we had a better coach that was here who wanted to focus just on training the team, and now we brought in Potter to do more than just training the team, and now he's just going to get to be the coach. No, I want him involved in more than that. Otherwise, why did they let Tuchel go?
See, I agree, but I do think Potter will be involved, but with the sporting director and with the more closer stuff. Like whether what Vivell said here, whether this is exactly how it will work at Chelsea, we don't know that. That's how he explained his situation at Red Bull, I suppose. If it's the structure is similar to this, I would assume the manager has more direct contact with the sport director, and then the sport director has more direct contact with the technical director, and then all together they have their meetings with Boehly and Bali and whoever else is involved on a monthly, 2 monthly, whatever basis. Because like I see what you're saying in terms of okay, idea and the vision, and I get it, but in terms of I think at the moment, I'm not sure if it's Chelsea fans in general or football fans in general, but I think it's not as simple as one footballer only works for one system. I think the world is kind of moving in a direction where the world thinks that as one footballer only works for one thing. That's not true. Certain footballers only work for one thing. Lukaku only works for a couple of things. But proper good players work for multiple things. That's why they're proper good players. That's what makes proper good players. They're capable of doing multiple different things. Now, they will have strengths and they will have things they're really good at and they will have things that they're slightly worse at. But just because a vision might change slightly within 1 or 2 years, like you say, which is a fair point, doesn't mean a player who you found out about at 17 or 16 or whatever it is, and you're like, oh, he will be a superstar. You're like, but now we have a slightly different manager. Now we don't want the superstar. No, of course you still want the superstar, no matter who the manager is, unless it like really drastically happens to, I don't know, you're signing someone that's only a target man striker and we're not going to use that. Now, of course, that would be stupid. But are we going to scout like a target man striker? Probably not. But who knows at the end of the day? Because the interesting thing with all of this is, and I can't remember where I read about this, but basically it takes us further into this technical director, sporting director role situation, that it has been reported in the past. Do you know who said it, that basically Todd Boehly could just stay in his role for a bit longer now instead? Who said that?
Matt Law said he's expected to until they appoint someone, and I think there was reports, I think about a week ago or something, that Chelsea are now going to really take their time and try and find the right guy, and they won't sort of rush it. Like, if it doesn't make, because obviously the previous deadline was set to be before the World Cup, but
yeah,
you know, if it's not going to be before the World Cup, it won't be before the World Cup. Like, it's not such a strict deadline anymore. So yeah, we'll see what happens with that.
There you go. I think actually it might have been Ben Jacobs' thread potentially. Let me get that up quickly. See if that was the thing that I was thinking about or not. Let me just find it, because basically what he was saying is, if I remember this correctly, and I hope I did. And now that we have found the technical director, like Pius essentially said, but even to potentially to a larger extent, maybe why is Twitter being weird and not just get rid of the message thing? I don't need it. Flip it out. Hi. Because we have the technical director, and Boehly actually didn't mind his whole sporting director thing, and now that he has the technical director and the long-term manager in place, it's a little bit less of a stressful situation. So taking it potentially as far as maybe we'd even wait for Michael Edwards, which I know you'd be a big fan of, Pies. Now, how long we'd have to wait for that is a difficult situation, but maybe Boehly still goes into the January window, and then we appoint someone like Michael Edwards halfway through the second half of the season. Do you see that as a realistic thing, or what's your view of that?
So you say in terms of Boehly being the director for like another window?
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I like it. I said earlier, I think it would be a good idea. I think we should wait for the best in class. I do think Paul Mitchell came out the other day and said like it's like an honour to be linked with such a big club and all that about Chelsea, but he was focused on Monaco, and like you never know what happens in the future. I do feel like they would have probably got an agreement with him if he was going to come by now. But at the same time, like that could just be like a come and get me play sort of thing. I did think that as well. But for me, Michael Edwards or Mitchell would probably be the best. I think they've got the best resume. Mitchell having worked in the Premier League at 2 separate clubs, and his sort of transfer list is very impressive to me. And obviously we know what Michael Edwards did at Liverpool. The Liverpool fans absolutely loved him. He got shitloads of money for terrible players. He bought some really, really good players. And I think he was like a big reason to Klopp's success. So I think those two are worth waiting out for if possible. Tim Steitman, I don't know anything about this guys, to be honest. Him.
From Leverkusen, him, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's worth probably getting someone from the Bundesliga now as well, that we've got someone. So they're kind of sort of in the same, I don't know, maybe if they've met each other, or I don't know, they've probably talked, before. But I don't know. I feel like those two guys that I mentioned before are probably worth waiting if that's the case. I mean, definitely the case with Edwards. I don't know why Mitchell hasn't been sort of a number one pursuit, if I'm honest with you. I mean, Man United wanted him. I'm surprised he's not ended up at a bigger club, although he obviously previously worked at Spurs and Southampton, things like that, I think.
Yeah, it is an interesting one, but that does make me think, do we want him? Because the fact that now he's at Monaco, you could you could at least try to get a benefit. And considering how much we've learned through the media from about Chelsea's activities so far, you'd think if we did get in closer contact with Paul Mitchell, we would know about it. And the fact that we don't makes me think maybe for whatever the reasons may be, we are not interested in him. I'm unsure. But this is actually the thread that I meant by Ben Jacob. Shout out to him. Although Chelsea are holding talks with a number of candidates now for the sport director role, he's told Todd Boehly is very comfortable staying as interim sport director for as long as it takes. There is a chance he assumes the role into January. It's one option discussed. He continues saying Christoph Freund was the appointment Chelsea really wanted, and there was an urgency to get it done. But after Freund U-turned on his decision to join Chelsea, and now talking to multiple candidates and considering all options, and as importantly, timescales. Christopher Vivell's imminent arrival, coupled with recruitment specialist Carl McCauley, means Chelsea aren't in as big a rush unless the right name presents itself. Leeds' Victor Orta has been considered, but it's not thought anything has advanced to date. Chelsea must decide whether to offer a candidate the role who can be in. Chelsea must decide whether to offer a candidate the role who can be in ready for January, or continue with Boehly in the short term. Boehly, from what I am told, has really enjoyed negotiating. Chelsea could try again for Michael Edwards and just bridge the gap before he's willing to start. In rejecting the role, Edwards simply said timing wasn't right, but was blown away by the project. Talks continue now with many candidates, but it's not impossible. Boehly just carries on. And Aaron, I want to get your thoughts on that, because to me, Boehly clearly has a little bit of a what's the right word? A knack for just negotiating and doing certain things right. Now, of course, he made it easy for himself by just, okay, here's the money. Negotiating is easy when you've got, cash flowing out your ears. But still, if you enjoyed it and you put someone next to him like Christopher Vivell, I guess it would be okay to let Boehly do it for a bit longer. Maybe not long term, but maybe that's exactly what we need. Sit someone next to him and then actually allow us to wait for Michael Edwards. Because, like Pi said, he's probably the best remotely available person for the job out there. And then rather than trying to scout and rummage through the Bundesliga and, German-speaking areas with Red Bull Salzburg as well, and looking at all of their sporting directors like Tim Steiten, like Christoph Freund did already, maybe it's just better, rather than trying to figure out which one is the best of the not ideal options that we have left. I guess once you put Vivell next to him, you might as well let Boehly finish it until we can get Edwards. Would you be on board with that, Aaron, at all?
Yeah, I think it does kind of make sense what you're saying in terms of if you want to hold out for the man that you want, then just filling the role for now as you were, it does make logical sense like that. I think he hasn't done too bad of a job in the role since he's taken it over, so I don't think it'd be the worst thing in the world. But I just wanted to touch on one of the points that you made earlier, kind of alluding to if Chelsea really wanted somebody, then they could go and get them. I think we can see, like, with how he's approached the window and how aggressive he's been with his negotiations, it kind of does make me think that if we really wanted someone as badly as we did, and the fact that he's got money flowing out of his asshole at the minute, he could literally just go in there and just get whoever he wants. So it is a bit of a concern that if the reports say that we want somebody, but knowing how Boehly acts in terms of just being so aggressive in his negotiations, so I can't even speak, then it kind of does make you think, do they really want him as bad as he makes out? But in terms of what we were discussing before, I don't think it's a bad idea to keep him on his role just for the next window, at least, just to hold out for Michael Edwards, because when you got somebody there who you think, yeah, he suits your project, who's blown away by our project as well and wants to come, but the timing isn't right, it kind of does make logical sense in my head to just hold off, and once the time becomes right for him, then bring him in, because he seems like he'd be the best person for the job.
Exactly. I mean, Pies, do you think that putting someone that, obviously Boehly knows business, but Boehly isn't an expert on football. But then if you put someone like Christopher Vivell, now we don't know how much of an expert he is, but let's assume the guy knows what he's talking about, because he's been at Hoffenheim and Salzburg and Leipzig. If you put him next to Boehly and then kind of let it do that together until we get Edwards, sounds reasonable to me. Like, maybe that's what, from now on, maybe that's what I'd personally strive for.
Yeah, sounds all right to me. I think as well with Tuchel and Boehly working together, there was a clear sort of I don't know, like an impasse in like what they were wanting, I think. So I feel like Boehly may have got annoyed, or maybe Tuchel got annoyed with what Boehly was trying to tell him, and vice versa. So I feel like with Graham Potter, I mean, even just his interviews, man, like he's so like just calm and like, you know what I mean? Like he's the most calm Chelsea manager I've ever seen. Obviously, we're only 3 games in. He'll probably get angry at some point.
Maybe Carlo is up there, but yeah.
Yeah, true. But like, he's just like, I just feel like he'll know, like, especially with Macaulay. Like, I don't have a problem with Boehly doing like another window. I mean, as well, like January. Everyone's I don't know why the whole fuss is about get someone in before January. Like, do we ever buy anyone in January? I mean, maybe pre-agreeing deals for summer, but does anything really happen in January? Not really, unless there's huge
Not
injuries. So I mean.
recently.
Yeah, like I don't really get why there was this massive stress about it anyway. I mean,
Yeah.
maybe it is for the fact that we need to negotiate a big deal, but again, Todd Boehly, like, you know what I mean? He's clearly capable of doing it. So I've never really
Although it
understood
is
the
now
rush.
obviously a new ownership, right? So maybe now we start buying everybody in January.
I mean, yeah, it's just January, like it's just a shit window for me. Like you have to overpay, and it's like it's never really possible to get anyone. Like it's notoriously crappy. So I've never really understood the mad rush anyway. To be honest with you.
I mean, we did do a couple of good deals in January windows. We got Matic in January, obviously Torres, but obviously that's bloody up. Up for debate whether you would call that as being successful or not. But also, what's his face? We've got Ramirez, I'm pretty sure, in a January window.
Yeah, these are a long time ago though, bro. Like I'm
No,
talking
100%,
recently.
a million percent. Yeah. Absolutely. But I guess if things become available, you might as well strike. And if they don't, then you don't strike. I guess you just, like you said earlier, maybe the January window is most certainly more of an opportunistic, just see what is available, see what we require in terms of injuries, blah, blah, blah. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see how that one goes. Now, the next bit of news is the medical staff update. Some guy called Murray. Never heard of him in my life. Have you heard of him before in your life, Pice?
I don't, but apparently there's an interesting background story to him. What was it? Was it called the Foo Fighters or something? Is that a band or what is it? A film? I don't know.
The Foo
what the fuck
Fighters
it
is a band, yeah?
Right, yeah. So I don't know why they put it in there, but the Daily Mail said he treated one of the lead guys for like 6 months after he broke his leg. I don't know why they put it in there, but I guess that was the best way of him getting, I don't know, best way of knowing him. I guess. But
Maybe,
he used
yeah.
to be a former footballer, a defender. Apparently, played for a few clubs. I'm not quite sure who, but there is an article on there by that guy that I've posted.
Yeah. Fairs. I mean, I don't know anything about him. How am I going to judge if he's any better than what we had before? Let's see how it goes. I suppose I don't have much more to add. Aaron, I assume you don't have much more to add either. Let's just see if it does a good job and hope he does a good job, I guess, right?
Yeah, no, I just saw the thing about being a former defender, but I literally didn't read too much into him.
There you go. It's not really much more to add. Let me go back to Pice's tweets and go back to the Aubameyang one. Let me scroll down. Pice and his tweets and see anything else interesting. I had the Goldstein interview. Is there anything we should throw out on that one, Pice?
I mean, he was talking about the main thing really was the stadium development. I think he was talking about like we've still got options at the table. In terms of like he said we could build it on a new site. I think the interviewer asked him about Battersea or Earls Court, and he said at the moment we're trying to look at the locality and work with what we've got with the fans at Stamford Bridge. And he said they're at the pretty much very start of planning permission now again because the planning permission expired or something. So he said in the next 12 months they should have more of an update. So in the next sort of year or so they'll have an update on what is going to be going on with the stadium. He was just mentioning how like they're here to continue the winning tradition. And yeah, he kind of swerved the Spurs fan question. He said he's a Londoner and he loves football. Yeah, he kind of swerved that Spurs question, but he said it was like a once in a lifetime opportunity. Chelsea's a massive club, etc., etc. So yeah, it was a bit of an interesting interview, but not too much to be honest with you. But it was nice to hear someone involved speak again, I guess.
I guess so. I mean, I didn't like how he speaks. I'm like, mate, can you sound any more like you have a stick in your bottom? Do you know what I mean? Well, come on. But you know, fair play. Maybe I'm being harsh. But followed the chat a little bit, and seemingly Kushal and PC Matt have a little bit of a disagreement here on terms of. So PC Matt, I'm not sure if you're a Chelsea fan or if you're a troll. You could be both. But if you're so sad, Koulibaly's overrated and Potter's shit. would you like to elaborate why that is? Or are you just going to make statements and just expect everyone to accept that that's your statement? Because you can't just make statements like that and not have reasons for your statement. Like, come on now. I understand it's a live chat, so like maybe you just didn't want to explain everything. Fair enough. But come on. Anyways, what we have on screen as well, though, and like RD said, what the F PSG contacts started with Aubameyang's entourage for a move to PSG next season, according to Santi, whatever his name is. Now, Pies, is Santi, whatever his name is, reliable in your opinion? I mean, I assume so, otherwise he wouldn't have posted it, but...
Yeah, he is for French news, I would say. Anything French player, anything sort of French league reliable, anything outside that, I'd probably say not. But yeah, it's definitely like if he tweets an article, it's definitely something to listen to. It's quite reliable in the last sort of year or so. I think he was one of the first to say about Fofana as well, in terms of the transfer and the injury. So he's definitely got connections there.
Yeah, fair play. And I mean, is there anything more than the headline, or is the headline, is it as simple as, okay, his entourage is apparently talking to PSG?
The translation, I couldn't really understand it, to be honest with you, when it came out to English. But yeah, it was saying, obviously, about the contacts of his entourage. It said that Chelsea wouldn't sort of, not wouldn't care, but they wouldn't deny him an opportunity or something. If he wanted to leave, Chelsea wouldn't like stop it, kind of thing. And then someone actually, I think, down in the comments below, screenshotted one of my old transfer tweets of Mike McGrath from the Telegraph saying that Aubameyang was a stopgap option before next summer when Chelsea try and get Leao. So I was thinking, okay, that's very interesting. But then they gave him, what did they give him, a 2+1? So, I mean, I'd expect him to stay another year
sell
after
him for
this.
money next summer then. Now,
Yeah, maybe. I'm not sure, but I don't know. It's very early for this sort of info to come out. I'm not sure why. I mean, yeah.
Wouldn't the 2+1 be like on the off chance that we aren't able to get Leao, then we just keep Aubameyang sort of thing?
That type of thing. Even though Aubameyang is a striker, Leao is not. So I'm not sure how they are so directly connected to each other, if I'm honest.
That's what I don't really get, because a lot of people saying that in the comments. I was like, well, Aubameyang's the really only sort of real striker with signed, and so yeah.
Yeah, it's a weird one.
Especially if he does so well, this season.
Go on.
I was just gonna say, especially if he does like quite well this season and scores quite a lot of goals, then why would you sort of let him go? I mean, it did say like only if Chelsea would only accept it if like his people and him wanted to leave. So I guess that's the case of any player. Like if you don't want to be here, then get out, sort of thing, in my opinion. So yeah.
I obviously this is one of those ones where it's like a lot of it is down to a lot of different factors. Now, if Aubameyang scores 25 goals this season, now then he will know he will still start next season, and then he will not want to leave, and then Chelsea will not want to let him go. But if he scores between 10 and 15 goals, and there's a chance that he doesn't start as regularly anymore next season because he's 33 now, maybe at 34 he doesn't start as regularly, and then he's like, okay, PSG want me, they pay me more to be on the bench, so I might as well go there. And then to me, that would be the ideal solution. When we signed Aubameyang, I never wanted him to stay for more than a year, if I'm honest. I mean, that's just me. But obviously, at the same time, that can change. My opinion can change. He's now scored 2 and 2. If he keeps doing that for the rest of the season and he ends up with bloody Haaland 2.0 and scores 40 goals, well, then I'm going to be happy. Do you know what I mean? And then I'm like, stay, for the love of God, stay. But it was, to me, I always viewed it as a bit of a stopgap option, and then we'll just have to see what happens next summer. Fingers crossed, nothing to do with Lukaku, but who knows? Maybe we do more with Broja. Maybe because Nkunku, let's not forget, he has to some extent played in this sort of striker role for Leipzig. Not as a sole striker, mind you, but still in a striker role. So maybe if you get Nkunku and Leao and you still have Havertz and you still have Broja, you're like, well, if they're all good, big if here, but if they're all good, then why need Aubameyang? Just let him go, get some money, and do it that way. Who knows? It could be anything. Aaron, what's your view on that? Would you be too mad if Aubameyang leaves again after the season and it's a genuine, and it was in hindsight, a genuine proper stopgap option? Because how many times have we said, we're signing this guy as a stopgap option, and then in the end we were stuck with them for 4 years? Do you know what I mean? And if this happens to be that way, at least it was finally an actual stopgap option, I would say.
Yeah, I wouldn't really have too many problems with it. I just think it's a bit strange where it says, oh, Chelsea wouldn't stand in his way. Like, you've only just signed the player and it's already like, okay, well, if somebody came in for him, then we wouldn't say no, sort of thing. I just find that a little bit strange. But other than that,
Yeah.
I think we kind of knew that Aubameyang being 33 is not going to be like a long-term option. So even if it was just to be a season, then as long as he's scoring goals this season, I couldn't really give a shit. But it's especially that's more like if we go on to then sign somebody who's gonna be better than him, or we're gonna get a better value for money. Do you know what I mean? That sort of thing. So it really just depends on kind of like what the alternative option is and sort of how he performs this season. But knowing that he's 33, we know he's gonna leave in a season or two anyway. So I don't think it makes too much of a difference.
No, exactly. And I mean, he has a 2 + 1 year contract. If we sell him next summer, we get money. If we sell him the year after, maybe we extend first. But does he have to? It depends on what the option exactly is. Like, does he have to agree to the option or not? If he does, then we can't just force it upon him, type thing. So who knows? But I wouldn't
It might
necessarily be
be
totally
like
against it. But because it's October, I do agree with both of you. It's just a bit early for a story like this to come out. He's just scored his first 2 goals for Chelsea. Why do we get this story now? It doesn't really make sense, does it?
but it might be similar to like what Azpilicueta in his contract, where you can automatically just trigger it. So then if it comes down to
Once he's played
this
a certain
season
amount
runs,
of
and then
games, yeah.
so then it'll be like, oh, okay, so beginning of next season you can trigger it, so it goes up to 2 years left, and then you sell him on, because when you sell him on 2 years left compared to 1 year left in his contract, you'll end up getting more.
That's true. That's true. I mean, I feel like it's rare that an option gets triggered before you're in the last year, before the option, but could very much so be the case. Absolutely. Pice, before we get to Chelsea Wolves, is there any bit of news that we still need to cover? I think we might have covered it all now.
I mean, I've lost track of everything today, so I'd probably have to go back and check. Not off the top of my head, I don't think. I mean, Todd Boehly was there today at training, which was interesting, nice to see. But yeah, pretty much it. I think pretty much covered everything.
Absolutely. Let's get that up quickly. I was just quite enjoying Todd Boehly's shoes. If I'm honest, I'm like, fair play. Must be easy if you're a billionaire to just have all the nice shoes. But I do
quite
find
funny
the
when
stress
they
sense a bit
showed,
weird. Sorry?
It was quite funny when they showed the pictures of Ted Lasso at the game on Wednesday as well.
Oh
It was
yeah,
quite
that's
funny.
on my profile as well. Yeah, I was like
Ted Lasso being there was quite funny.
And who was the one next to Todd? Was it Naomi Campbell potentially?
Yeah.
I'm no expert
Yeah,
on
it
these
was.
people, but there you go. I mean, I don't mind that. A lot of people will throw hissy fit. I'm like, oh, look at all these stars. I'm like, well, there was stars at Stamford Bridge before. Do you know what I mean? Who cares? But yeah, I do like this though. And you know what? One thing you mentioned earlier in terms of Graham Potter being so calm, I also think that Graham Potter will have a little bit of a better hand at controlling Boehly. Is the wrong word. Shouldn't even try to control Boehly. That probably won't go well. But you know how Tuchel and Boehly clearly, and it didn't take them very long to kind of edge on. Do you know what I mean? Like, why it wasn't smooth sailing anymore very quickly. Did it necessarily have to end? Maybe, maybe not. We will never know for sure. But there was certainly some sort of minor hiccups going on between them. I feel like Potter will be much, just because I think he's a bit better with humans in that way. So I'm like, maybe he will just be able to handle Boehly better without letting Boehly get out of control. I don't know if that's just me that sees it that way. But there you go. I do find it funny though. Thiago Silva spoke about it in an interview after the Milan game as well. Speaking about Todd Boehly, because Todd Boehly came out of the dressing room and then this journalist was asking, oh yeah, was he speaking to you guys? And Thiago Silva is like, yeah, he always tries to speak to everyone, tries to be involved. Everyone's trying to be together and everything's great, basically. So I'm like, fair play, fair play. Thiago Silva, I'm not sure if any of you have ever listened to his Portuguese interviews, but the guy sounds like the wisest man I've ever heard. I mean, obviously, I don't speak Portuguese, so I only hear it and then read the subtitles. But still, the way it sounds, the guy just sounds so wise. Like, yeah, of course. And Reece James will be one of the best players in history. I'm like, all right, fair enough. But there you go, there you go. One big thing we should probably mention that is happening tomorrow is not just Chelsea playing Wolves. Diego Costa is returned to Stamford Bridge, and I'm excited. Now, I hope he doesn't score, or I hope he scores and we win 3-1. But I'm excited. I'm excited to see Diego again in the Premier League. I didn't get round to seeing what he did in. I think he played once for Wolves so far, right? Maybe twice. I didn't get quite round to it yet, but I'm excited. I'm excited. You excited to see Pice? You excited to see Diego back at the Bridge, Pice?
I mean, I wish I was going. I can't go because of the travel, but yeah, it's absolutely done in London tomorrow. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see him on whatever stream I watch, I guess. I'm excited to see the reception he gets. I'm sure he'll get a lot of applause. I mean, Giroud got a lot of applause, so Yeah, he nearly scored last week as well against West Ham, which kind of worries me. But yeah,
Yeah,
I'm sure we'll pocket him hopefully, and hopefully he doesn't like punch one of our players or something.
Nah. You just as Nizar Cancelo loved to tweet 50 times in the last 3 days. Just give him a fire extinguisher. Aaron,
Yeah.
you excited? Diego Costa returning to Stamford Bridge?
Yeah, sorry, I don't know what happened. My headphones disconnected and you started talking in slow-mo, so it was really fucking weird. But yeah, I'm really excited to see Diego back. I love that man so much. That's gonna be I reckon it'd be fucking hilarious because he's a bit shit now, but it'll be really nice to see him come back to Stamford Bridge. Same way with midweek when we saw Giroud back at Stamford Bridge. It'll be really nice.
Mate, absolutely. I found it so weird. Like Giroud before the game on Wednesday was like, "Yeah, I hope for a nice reception." And then today in the press conference with Graham Potter, this one journalist asked, like, "Oh, do you think Diego Costa's going to get a nice reception because he didn't leave in the best way?" I'm like, do you people understand anything about fans? Of course, Giroud was going to get a great reception, and of course,
Giroud got
Diego
a standing
Costa will get a great
ovation and
reception.
everything when he went off. Giroud literally had the crowd when pre-game when they read out his name, everyone was going crazy, and then as he was coming off the bench, you just see everybody just standing up and clapping him. So I reckon Diego Costa will probably get the same thing because he's not. I don't think he's ready to start, but if he does come on the pitch, I reckon he'll get crazy reception because compared to what Giroud did for us, Costa was different gravy. So I'm sure he'll get a very nice reception from the fans.
Absolutely. And I just find it weird that journalists aren't aware of that. How is that a debate? I don't understand. But anyways, now one exciting thing, which we do all the time these days, is a lovely little quiz, which I'm sure will involve a couple of questions surrounding Diego Costa. But here we are. And Bertram is very much aware he is on Fraud Watch after last week. So I'm very pleased that he announced it himself on screen.
Fraud Watch.
But hey, here we are. So let's get into this one.
I told him.
Yeah, you did tell him, to be fair. Nobody claimed to me early in DMs. He knows every Chelsea score and goal scorer since the 15-16 season. I'm like, no, you don't. And he's like, yeah, I do. I was like, well, fair enough. I have to stream now. So I can't.
You should get him on a stream and put it to the test. Just read out random games from each season.
Bertram, you're getting tested, I'm telling you. Because you can't just make... there was a time in my life when I was like really good. I knew... What season was it? One season I knew, even the season after, I knew every result, every goal scorer. But 7 years ago you're talking about? Are you mental? Absolutely not. Anyways, first question. The mighty Chelsea Lions have had a number of blood-rushing duels against Wolves. How many Premier League games have the Blues won since the Wolves promotion in 2018-19? So does that mean their first season was 19-20? Or was their first season 18-19?
Russian duels.
Does anyone know what season Wolves got promoted? I feel like 18-19 they probably got promoted, so 19-20 would have been their first Prem season.
I swear it was earlier than that. Or is he talking about?
Maybe this was their first Prem season. Could well be. Oh, I went back. Don't listen. Don't read it. Sorry. Look at this Diego Costa everywhere. Yeah. If you read the answer, just ignore it. But I didn't read it, and I have no idea still. How many? Surely we have beaten them more than. So okay, you play everyone twice. How many seasons is that? 19-20, 20-21, 21-22. So 3 seasons so far. So that's 6 games. If it's 6.
I'm going to say 4, I think.
We beat them when we secured top 4 on the Lampard when Mount scored the free kick.
Yeah.
Last day. That was a win. We beat them once away, I think, but usually we don't win away from home.
Wasn't the away one when Tomori scored a screamer?
Yeah, absolutely. And
they
all
were
3
wearing the
academy
white
players
kit.
scored, didn't they? Tomori, Tammy, and Mount.
I think Tammy got a hat-trick that game, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, there you go. And Tomori, and we won, 5-2 or 5-3 or whatever?
Oh, we should just ask Bertram. He knows all the scores anyway.
Yeah, he does, but that's why he makes the quizzes, isn't it? All right.
God forbid that man ever gets a question wrong on a quiz. I'm coming for him.
At least if it's since 15-16. Before that,
no, I'm here for war. If it's any question, he's getting it.
There you go. But what answer are you going to go for, Aaron?
I haven't got a fucking clue. I'd say 3.
I was probably going to say 3 as well, but let's see. Only twice, which was this game and that game. We literally spoke about the only 2 times we won. Well, hopefully we can bloody change that tomorrow because...
I meant 3 as in after tomorrow.
Exactly. That's what you meant. 100%.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Should have been clearer.
Which of the following... Sorry?
Should have been clearer in the question, honestly.
Should have been. How could you know? Which of the following Chelsea players has never scored against the Wanderers? Gallagher, Ruben, even if misspelled, Aubameyang, and Pulisic. But how the flip am I supposed to know whether Gallagher and Aubameyang scored before against them? Or Ruben, for that matter. I'm going to say Ruben, because Ruben doesn't score that much, does he? So chances are he didn't score against Wolves. Aaron, your answer?
Yeah, that spelling is horrific. Pulisic? I just want to be different. He can't do that to your favorite player. Do you know what I mean? He can't do that to your favorite player.
I'm going Pulisic as well. Just for back to the
Pulisic.
game. I'm pretty sure it's him.
So you can you remember Ruben scoring against them?
I mean, I can't, but I just want to be different.
I can't. But if you think back, right? So that lockdown game, I think Giroud and Mount scored.
Oh wait, I think I can.
And then in the away game under Lampard, Pulisic definitely didn't score. So it has to be him. Surely.
Giroud scored when we played 1-1 away. I feel
Giroud
like
scored at home,
might have scored an away goal at Wolves once.
No, I don't think so.
I could be wrong. Absolutely.
Oh, wait. Yeah, no. I was thinking only in the wins. Oh, in general. Oh,
Yeah.
fuck. Oh, Jesus. Bloody hell. In general, I'm going to say Gallagher then, I reckon.
But you got to remember, last season at Palace, he scored against some of the mid-table teams. So.
He did, but I'm going to say Gallagher. I can't remember him scoring against them. Maybe I was wrong.
First, Aaron, did you go for anything for final?
Yeah, I said Pulisic.
Okay, let's see.
Wait.
Was
it? Was Pulisic. Fair play. Gallagher seemingly last season, Aubameyang for Arsenal, and Loftus-Cheek apparently in Sarri's season scored against Wolves. Well, fair enough.
Was that not a game when he got assisted by Hazard?
Huh?
Didn't Hazard assist Ruben for his goal against Wolves? Or am I thinking of a different goal?
No, that's an away game. I remember that game now.
No. It was at home. It was a home game.
Ruben
scored. This is an away game.
Ruben scored a deflected goal, bro.
Oh shit! Fair enough.
The one that Hazard assisted, the nice bit of play was against Fulham. You're talking about.
Oh shit! Another stinker. Sorry, got my shit.
And I think he might have assisted Ruben against Brighton as well once, but who knows? But sorry, Pice, talk you out of that Pulisic one. My bad. The Wolves are known to have slain the fans. To have slain their fair share of giants. Okay, but some clubs have had the silver stake. Which of the following clubs remain unbeaten against Wolves since 2018 in the Premier League?
Oh God, that's difficult.
But how many is it? Multiple, but we don't know how many. Okay. City definitely lost to Wolves once, and absolutely know it.
Yeah.
Oh no, or maybe was it Norwich who they lost to?
No,
Norwich and Wolves.
No, it was Wolves.
Yellow
Wolves
orange.
have definitely beat City, I think.
Yeah, I reckon so as well. I reckon they beat Liverpool too.
Yeah. You know, just because it's in there,
Spurs,
just because it's in there, I'm gonna go Crystal Palace, and I'm gonna go. They've beat Man U loads of times.
I'm saying Palace and Spurs because I think against unbeaten. Sorry, I thought who never lost because I thought maybe Spurs just drew against them loads.
Wolves beat Arsenal, or unbeaten against Arsenal.
I don't think Wolves have beaten Arsenal.
You don't?
No, I don't think they have.
Wait, which
I'm gonna say Spurs and Palace. I'm gonna say Spurs and Palace.
Arsenal, Palace.
What are you gonna go for, Aaron?
I
don't even know if
we're supposed to. I'm
gonna pick two.
I'll go
Arsenal and United.
Okay, Arsenal Palace for me. Arsenal Palace.
Okay.
Arsenal and United.
Only Liverpool.
I thought it was a choice of two.
Are you sure?
Well, I'm not sure, but he seems to be sure.
Well, he was sure last
guess
time,
Liverpool.
and he'd been put on fraud watch for it, so we might have to VAR check that.
I mean, if you want to VAR check it, you're happy to do so.
Mate, I'm in the middle of a foot champs game. I'm not VAR checking that.
There's no way you're playing. I'm literally waiting till later to play Champs, bro. There's no way.
Bro, you got to multitask, man.
Oh my god.
Boys, get yourself alive. Foot champs. That's over. It's been over for 4 years. Stop doing that.
Nah, man, we need the red picks, bro. We need the red Haaland, you know?
Bro, I need my red picks, man. Haaland's coming.
Fair play, fair play. But yeah, apparently it's Liverpool, which I had no idea about, but here we are. Next question then. In New York, they have Little Italy. In Wolverhampton, they have Little Lisbon. All right. How many Portuguese players do Wolves currently have listed in the first team? Oh, it's got to be 12.
Oh,
sure.
shit. There is.
It's
There
got to
is.
be. I was going to say it's got to be.
Fuck ton.
It's loads.
It
There's
has
probably
First
some
team
that we can't
includes the
think
whole
of as
squad,
well.
right? First team's the whole squad.
Yeah.
Do we go? Should we do this together and go through it and see who we can actually think of?
All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good job.
So there's Jose Sa, there's Nelson Semedo. I think there's centre back Totti as well. They've got Neves Moutinho, Neto, Chiquinho.
That's 7. Or it might be 7, you know?
No. There's this.
No, Mateus
What's
Nunes.
he called? That
Nunes.
Mateus
winger?
Nunes.
No, what's he called?
Vinagre?
Podence, their winger. He's Portuguese as well.
Podence. Vinagre
Yeah,
is
Podence,
on their
yeah.
books, but he's on loan, so I don't know if it counts.
No, I
Okay.
don't. Podence is another, so that's what, 9?
Yes, that's 9. It's probably closer to 10 then.
Yeah, it's got to be 10, I reckon. I don't think it's 12.
Who else do they
Did
have? that we
someone,
can't
did
think
someone
of?
already say Trincao?
No,
He's
he's
gone.
not there anymore. He's at Sporting.
He's gone.
Okay.
I'm going to go
And
10.
then obviously they have a couple of Brazilians like Diego who speaks Portuguese but isn't actually Portuguese. Okay,
So, yeah,
let's
I think
say
it's
10.
10.
Shall we? Shall we say 10?
Yeah, I think it's 10.
10.
There's
Alright,
one
let's
that
see.
we can't think of.
What should be 12?
10!
Yes.
Look
Yeah.
at Oscar. Who did we forget?
Totti, that guy.
No, I said
Guedes,
Totti already.
the guy they signed
Guedes,
from,
that's it.
Oh,
Yeah,
Guedes. Yeah.
How the fuck did I get Totti but not Guedes? Fucking hell.
I'd never even heard of Totti in my life, so fair play. But I do quite like this. Bertram, I mean, I love you, but you don't need to bring up a map of Wolverhampton and Portugal. Oh, sure. I rate it. All right. No more dancing around the hot porridge. Apparently a Danish saying. The man, the myth, the Diego Costa 19 is finally returning to his one true home in England. Question is, has he ever scored against the Wanderers? Probably not, because they weren't in the Prem.
Yeah,
Have
you
we
gotta
played
think
them in the
cup
cup?
as well. This is... I don't know, man. So long ago.
I'll say no. But it might as well be yes. So I have no idea. What are you going to go for, boys?
I'm going to say yes, just to be different.
Okay, both of you go for yes. Fair play. Let's see. He has. He scored
Boom.
against them in the FA Cup in 2017. Bit niche. You misspelled niche there, but we'll let you off. But apparently, yeah, he did. There you go. I had no idea. Although now I see this picture, I do kind of remember us playing them in the Cup when they were not in the Premier League yet. But hey, here we are. Fair enough.
I said sorry, I got it right.
I got it wrong. You got it right.
Look, you put sorry, boys.
No, that's true. He gave you a 50-50 answer, to be fair. So, you know. Following down the Costa route and celebrating his time with Chelsea, who did the Spaniard score his first and who did he score his final goal against?
First goal and last goal for Chelsea.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, I know. But I'll give you a second to think about it. Ladies and gentlemen in the chat, sorry I haven't quite gotten enough involved with you guys yet.
What was
But
his first game?
think about it.
I'm trying.
I said, think about it, lad. That's going to do anything for me.
Yeah.
No, it
clueless.
will help. Think about how and when he left and what the last game of that season was. That tells you what
Oh, okay. So the last one, unless I'm being stupid, I think it's I think is it West Brom? Or am I being an idiot?
I'm gonna go Everton
West
and
Brom, it's not even an
Middlesbrough.
option here, bro.
Oh wait, shit! No,
Oh, no.
I wasn't even looking at the
I
screen,
know.
was
I know. I think I
Oh,
know.
wait,
I
hold
think
on,
I know.
You sure you know?
It's-
Okay, let's give Aaron a chance to think about it still. And then
Well,
we'll say
I
ours.
know the first team he scored against. I'm 100% sure. I'm not sure on the last. It's between two.
Okay,
Wait.
okay. Yeah.
bollocks. I ain't got a fucking clue. It's fucking Burnley and Watford. Who gives a fuck? I don't know.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. Burnley and Watford.
And my memory is actually serving me well today. I know it's Burnley and Arsenal because Burnley was his debut
Bollocks.
when Shirley scored that wonder goal from the Fabregas pass.
Oh yeah.
And Diego scored that game too. And then his last goal, as was his last game, was the FA Cup final against Arsenal, which we lost 2-1 and he scored our goal.
Oh,
Oh,
shit, I
right,
forgot
yeah.
about that.
Yeah.
That's why it's Burnley and Arsenal.
Mhm.
Didn't actually remember that one. There you go. Burnley and Arsenal. Now, I have no idea if there's another question or not, so let's see. Let's all support the boys and get back to winning ways. We already won the last 2 games, mate, but yes. But yeah, in general, I had a good time with those questions. I'm very pleased with myself that I knew the last one. Did anyone know the last one? You were so close. Yeah, you were so close. I don't know why I remember this, but I just always remember that in that FA Cup final, he was by far our best player, even better than Hazard.
Is that
Against
the Sanchez hand of God?
Yeah, exactly that.
Okay.
Yeah,
no, I'm trying to talk about.
And he scored for
Anthony
us.
Taylor,
And then-
ref.
And then Conte texts him the next day, "You're not needed anymore." I'm like, bro, did you watch the cup final? He was our only good player. What do you mean we don't need him? How have you come to that conclusion? Flipping Conte. You know, did you tweet it the other day, Pice? That story that Conte shouted to him, "Go to China,"
Yeah,
and that's why
yeah.
he nearly left him. Roman
Oh,
had to
God.
calm it down. I'm like, Conte,
Jesus.
just get in the bin. The fact that he won that lawsuit against us will piss me off for the rest of time, I tell you. Honestly, triggering me there. But
Just
yeah.
wait till the Wolves interim shows him a picture of him and Conte and says, "Here's your daddy."
That's funny. That is funny. Made me laugh there. Fair play. Chelsea Wolves then. We won the last 2 games. What do you reckon? Feeling confident ahead of tomorrow, Pice?
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, I don't think it will be a smashing, but I think we'll win.
Okay. Aaron,
Yeah.
you think you're confident? Aaron, are you still here?
Oh shit! Sorry, I was on mute. Yeah, mate, I was at Stamford Bridge on Wednesday. Seeing that after smacking AC Milan, my confidence couldn't be higher.
There you go. I'm quite confident as well. I can't lie. I'm quite confident as well. What I'm not confident about is knowing what flipping formation our manager is going to pick. Ladies and gentlemen, by the way, subscribe if you haven't already, and please do smash the like button. I massively appreciate it. But let me get that lineup screen up. Right, so go with you first. Back 3 against Milan. Back 4 against Palace. Back 3 against Salzburg. But a different back 3 to what we played against Milan. So what you feeling tomorrow? Back 3 or back 4?
I'm feeling a back 4, man. I'm feeling a back 4.
Okay. What exact back 4 now? Because I'm gonna have to pick from you.
I feel like it might be like a 4-2-3-1, maybe something like that. But I'm not quite sure.
Could be.
Yeah, I was thinking 4-3-3, but I'm not sure. Yeah, maybe even a 4-3-3. To be honest, I'm just thinking of where people are going to play.
Could be. Could very much be the case as well. I'm not sure. I was honestly feeling back 3 in terms of just not necessarily that I would pick it, but in terms of that I think the manager will. But we'll see. Let's ask Aaron as well. What do you feel the manager's going to do?
I think with the injury to Fofana, it might sway him a little bit to play a back 3. But I mean, seeing Chalobah, back 4. But seeing Chalobah come on and play the way that he played against Milan, I think it might give him that sort of nudge to finally give him some minutes. So I'm going to say back 3.
I'll say back 3 as well. And you know why? And I'll quite easily explain it. And then we'll see whether Pi still disagrees or whether that maybe sways him. Marco Correa is now back, and Graham Potter confirmed that he will be involved tomorrow. Thiago Silva, in my opinion, needs a rest. We need to give the guy a rest somewhere. So for me, Thiago Silva gets rested tomorrow, which says to me, Cucurella to actually help us out because if we rest Thiago Silva in the back 4, we need to play Koulibaly and Chalobah in the back four. I feel that's a bit risky. I don't know if I'm just the only one.
No,
So
very
I
risky.
think we could do this, and then it's a little bit more natural. And in the back three, it's a bit more stable. Do you know what I mean? Do you see what I mean with that, Pice? Could you see that happening as a back three?
I only see this happening if Chilwell doesn't start and Sterling goes in that Trossard role, which would then mean probably like 2 strikers and not 3-4-3. It might be like a 3-4-1-2.
That could be, yeah. Don't focus on the front so far. I'm only talking about the back three so far. But yeah, I think that's true, and I think maybe Chile could also do with the rest. You know, the guy hasn't played a lot of regular football, and now he played back-to-back 90 minutes. So who knows if he's even fit to play another? Do you know what I mean? So that's why I'm thinking this might be it. You know.
I mean, you could argue he also needs the minutes just to build up games, but at the same time, like he might get injured.
Succession, I'm feeling.
Yeah, I don't know though. Otherwise, like, how else is he going to get fully fit? That's my thing with him. Not quite sure.
Yeah,
I wouldn't play him.
I'd rather he play against Wolves than he play a Milan away, if I'm honest. But
I would play a back four, but that's just my opinion.
In the back four, who would be his centre backs just Koulibaly, Chalobah, yeah?
Yeah.
Or would you play Thiago?
No, I would play Koulibaly and Chalobah.
You wouldn't, or you would?
I would.
Okay. I don't know, man. I don't know. Let's see what the chat is saying. Ladies and gentlemen in the chat, what do you reckon? Back three or back four? What do you think? Because Potter did say, or he didn't say Cucurella will start, but he did say he will be involved. But yeah, I don't know. I think both have their merit, you know. I think we played so well in the back three. I would be surprised if he goes away from it, because Potter is so much plays on the back of confidence and allowing players to be their best self. And then if you give them a different shape to what they just beat AC Milan 3-0 in, I feel like it's better to stick to the shape. Not necessarily in the front line as well, but in terms of the general team shape. Do you see what I mean with that, Pies? That maybe that's the reason to stick with it?
Yeah, potentially. I just feel like 4 at the back will be much more attacking for us. That's why I've went with that. I feel like we need to win tomorrow, so yeah, that's why I've gone
win every
4.
game, really. But yeah,
yeah, well, that's why I don't really want to. I mean, Cucurella at left centre back just completely, like, for me, that's just a waste of him anyway. I'd much rather him be a left back, or somewhere where he can get forward more.
I hear that. The thing is, if this is Sterling, and I'm going to assume it is Sterling if Cucurella plays here, then he's kind of acting like a left back anyway. At least he did against.
As I said though, if it's free, it's got to be Sterling on that position, player 7.
I do agree, actually. I do agree. So if Aaron said back three, I'm kind of feeling a back three a little more. Let's go with that for the time being. Then we might change our mind. But Aaron, if it is a back three, would this be the back three for you, or would you keep Thiago Silva in the team?
No, I think Thiago Silva could definitely do with a rest. So I would go. See, the thing is though, it's like he needs a rest, but then in a back three, can we really afford to rest him? Because then that doesn't really leave you with many options. So it's a case of I don't really know.
I guess Thiago Silva will be on the bench. He won't be left out of the squad.
Yeah, but as in, if you're gonna give him a rest, you ideally don't want to really be bringing him on. But I think hearing what you guys kind of had to say, because I didn't really factor in giving Thiago Silva a rest before. Hearing that factored in, it makes me think back 4 a lot more, because of the fact that we've got Fofana out now, and Thiago Silva could do with a bit of a rest, but just Koulibaly and Chalobah
it's democracy here. We do it for the player rating, so let's do it for the defense as well. If you're feeling back 4 and Pies is feeling back 4, then let's go for the back 4.
I'm so confused, because if we play back 4 and we have Koulibaly and Chalobah as the 2 centre backs, it gives me 0 confidence, because the pair of them are just so rash at times. It's kind of like it's a ticking time bomb. Some shit's gonna happen. So unless he doesn't do something like Cucurella at a left centre back, or Azpilicueta in there somewhere, I just don't know. I'm gonna stay back 3. I'm gonna stay back 3, but I'm so confused. I really don't know.
Okay. I mean, there's also obviously a shout to be made that Aspie plays.
No, God no, please, Jesus.
I mean, now with Fofana injured, Aspie will have to play certain games. The thing is just, if Aspie plays, will he play here? I hope he doesn't play wing back, because what if he rests Reece James as well?
No, you don't rest both of them in the same game.
Oh,
You can
to
give
be
Thiago
fair,
Silva a
to be
rest
fair,
day.
that is a shout. Reece has played, and he's going to start against Milan. That's only Tuesday. That's a shout. But I almost feel like he wouldn't do that, and he'd play like you might even do like a Tuchel and play like another winger at that side.
Or
Maybe.
Ruben.
I mean, yeah, or Ruben. Yeah, something like
Aubameyang, right wing back.
that. Jesus Christ, Zakaria. Let's do a Tuchel. Okay.
Don't worry, when Nkunku comes, you can play right wing back again.
Bloody hell. All right. So, Pies, you would pick this back three if it is a back three?
Well, kind of, but 7 being more as in a 10, but dropping back. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just talking.
Yeah.
Back three at the moment. But yeah. Fairs. Okay. I mean, the Aspie one is definitely a shout for potentially here, but because Chalobah came on the last game and did well, I think it would be harsh in this position to play anyone but him, personally. So, to me, you're sticking with that. Especially, I don't like the idea of Cucurella and Aspie in a back three, because then there's no height whatsoever. So I'm
Might
like,
as well chuck Lissandro Martinez in there as well.
Maybe you might as well, but thankfully we don't have to deal with that. Okay, let's do this in the back three. Even though we're kind of reverting backwards, does Kepa stay in goal, Aaron?
Yep.
I don't think. Okay, go on.
Sorry, I know I longed that out a little bit. I just needed the yep for a bit of emphasis, but I don't think. I don't think Mendy walks straight back in. I think he's got it's difficult. You can't really earn your place back as a goalkeeper, but I don't think until Kepa doesn't do something stupid or make a bad mistake, I don't think Mendy comes back in.
I agree. Pies, do you agree?
Yeah, I'd keep Kepa in there. I don't see a reason why dropping him. To be honest, he's in good confidence right now.
It will just destroy his confidence even more if you then drop him when he's playing well.
Yeah.
I feel like
Kepa is at a point where you can't even touch that man's confidence. No matter what happens, the guy will be confident. The guy was on the bench for 2 years straight and was looking at the most confident player we had in the entire squad.
I also feel like
up until he takes a penalty.
Yeah.
I feel like Kepa will know though at some point he is going to be benched. Like if he thinks he's just going to be like keeping Mendy out forever, I think he's sorely mistaken. But
I think he's known that for years, to be honest.
What do you mean?
As in, he's known for years that he's not going to be number one. So, is he just whenever he gets the opportunity, it's just a case of he just has a bit of fun, enjoys himself, and then he knows he's going back on the bench anyway.
I'm not sure he will, on the pod. I'm not sure he will, but we'll have to wait and see. But for the time being, he stays in the team. All right, back three we have kind of sorted, and then we kind of have that left wing / left. Can I talk? Left wing back / left mid sorted as well. Aaron, I mean, would you agree with that, Sterling, there, like we did against Salzburg in the first game on the Potter?
I don't know actually, because when I'm thinking more like how we used to play a back three of having like Chilwell, James, but with the way that Potter plays it, I can definitely see that more so than Chilwell. So I'd go with that as well.
I mean, it would be interesting to play Cucurella and Chilwell together. They could almost interchange at times. That would also be interesting to see how that works out. But like I say, if we're playing back three already, we're still playing Wolves, the most defensive team in the league. Until they play City, the best defensive record in the league as well. So it's not easy to score against them. So I feel like back three, okay, if you have to, but then play someone like Sterling on the wing. I mean, Pice, you already agreed with it. Fair play. I would probably agree with you guys as well in terms of you don't rest James and Thiago, you rest one of them. So you rest Thiago here and rest maybe James next weekend. Or who do we play next weekend? Brentford or something?
Don't know. Can't remember.
I can't remember either, if I'm honest with you, mate. But you sticking with Reece James at right wing back, mate?
Oh, we've got Villa next weekend away.
So maybe we'll rest him there.
Piss.
No, that's not an easy game. Not away, it isn't for me,
mate. Stevie G,
but no game
easy.
You know what I mean? Like if you only go,
that ground is that ground's difficult to play at. But I would go Reece James if he's fit and healthy. But yeah, I think Potter will go Reece. I feel like this is the one that we're debating for no reason. I feel like Reece will 100% start, but who knows? There might be an element of rest in there, but I highly doubt it.
I do agree. Aaron, Reece James, yeah?
Yep, absolutely. Because if it's not Reece James, then who the hell else would it be? Maybe Loftus-Cheek, but he played well in the midfield midweek, so I wouldn't want to see him then get shoved across to a wing back.
There you go. And now we get into midfield, where it gets a bit tricky because Jorginho obviously had a knock ahead of the last game, but then did come on, so seemingly fine and probably in contention to start again. Kovacic played reasonably well, was subbed off to save his legs a little bit. Ruben played well, but was not subbed off. So what are we feeling in midfield then? Pice, I'll go with you first. What do you think? Jorginho cover? Jorginho Ruben? Or cover Ruben again? What are you feeling?
I'm going to go Jorginho Ruben. I feel like Kovacic could do with some rest. Again, there's been debates about whether he is actually playing with an injury. And I feel like he'll start the Champions League game away at San Siro. Like, I feel like it's 100%. And Jorginho
The question is,
didn't play.
who will he start that game with? Because if he started with Ruben...
Jorginho.
Yeah, probably. But yeah, just because Ruben was so good
yesterday. He'll go with experience away at San Siro. He'll go with experience, I think. I don't think he'll throw Ruben in there at San Siro.
Maybe it's a fair shout. Watch Aspie start then. But yeah,
Maybe.
I think tomorrow Georgie Ruben isn't the worst shout, if I'm honest. Like, isn't unrealistic either. Aaron, what do you think in terms of tomorrow, and maybe also slightly looking ahead to Tuesday already too?
I think the same thing we say about Thiago Silva needing the rest sort of thing. That's kind of what Jorginho got midweek. So I think he should be good to go. But I actually disagree. I think the fact that Ruben played 90 and Kovacic came off early might mean that Kovacic plays over Ruben.
I wouldn't be shocked by that either, yeah. And I wouldn't be shocked by it either if on Tuesday we go back to Kova and Ruben, if I'm honest.
It did work pretty well, to be fair, so I wouldn't be too surprised.
I think it's going to be a different game, though. They're going to be way more attacking than they were here.
But they're not really going to have many of their other players back who are injured anyway, so
it's just different, though, bro.
Somewhat depleted.
San Siro, like, they're at home, the crowd, it's like opposite game, in my opinion.
We'll just sub on Dennis Wise and he could score a fucking great goal, innit? So we're all right. No problems.
Exactly. And I don't know, like, on the one hand, I agree with Pice that it's going to be a different game. I agree with that part. But whether it's going to be a different game that it suits Jorginho more than Ruben, that's what I'm less sure about. Because I'm like, if anything, it will lean even more towards Ruben and away from Georgie, because the more they try, the more they were like, okay, stadium behind our backs, like, we need revenge for last week and proper go at it, the more I feel Ruben suits it more than Georgie.
But Jorginho
has to start regardless. Koba has to start, obviously, Tuesday, but it's just a question of who's next to Koba.
Jorginho could just take the sting out of the game and we could just dominate possession and not allow them to do that. That's my thinking.
But their midfield also has a lot of legs as well.
So difficult there. Do you think that's possible?
If we play well enough, yeah, I think so.
Okay, fair enough. Aaron, then for tomorrow, sorry, we kind of cut you off there in terms of your thought process.
Oh yeah, so based off of midweek, I'd say Jorginho, Kovacic, but my mindset being Ruben then plays midweek in Milan rather than Jorginho, because they've got a lot of legs in midfield. You kind of want to counter that with legs of your own.
I'm not sure. I mean, so seemingly we're all in agreement on Jorginho. It's just a question of who starts next to him. I do see the logic that Aaron applied in terms of Koba was one of the guys that was subbed off. Also, well, not the first sub because that was Fofana's injury, but after that, in terms of he was part of the first double substitution after that, in terms of giving rest. Do you do that if you don't plan to play him on the weekend anyway? So I'm probably feeling Jorginho cover as well, if I'm honest, but I'm not sure. So let's put it like this, I guess. But it's a difficult one. Honestly, it's a difficult one. I mean, is anyone making a shout for Zakaria or Chukwuemeka or someone? Unlikely, I guess.
I would love a Zakaria. I would love it just to see what he's got, but it's just never going to happen, is it?
No. I mean, there was an interview by him today. I didn't read all of it. I only read snippets of it. But yeah, he's basically seemingly talking it like up in his head why it was still a good decision to go to Chelsea, even though he's now realised I'm not going to play all year. That's what
I think he was saying. He wants to try and not be Saul Niguez, and he's trying to prove that Chelsea should trigger the loan to buy or some shit like that.
I mean, I like his mentality. I mean, the one thing he did say was that we're a big club, and if you're not good enough, you can't stay here. So, I mean, I don't know any person who's arrived that kind of says that, even though they might think it. I like that mentality from him.
I agree.
I would like to see him. I feel like it might be in one of the, I don't know, an FA Cup game or something.
Yeah,
Then he might
he
come
needs
on
a
in the
cup game,
Prem.
yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, he needs to be sort of. I don't know. Like, I do feel kind of bad for him because I'm sort of like talking him down. I feel like I'm talking him down almost, like he's some sort of young, like we don't know kind of thing. Like he's been around. Like he's played for Juve. Played for Switzerland. He's played for Gladbach. Like he's not sort of inexperienced as such. It's
No.
just kind of.
Was it one of you guys that said on international duty he didn't really look great?
No, number one, he didn't start, and then when he came on, he didn't look right. I didn't say, but I was only told it as well.
Oh,
I don't know. I didn't watch, but
yeah. Can't remember who said it either. But yeah, there you go. I mean, maybe like depending on how our group games go between now and then, maybe Zagreb at home, you could consider starting Zakaria potentially, but it depends on our results between now and then, I suppose.
The more confusing one is Chukwuemeka because you spent it was 15 million, could rise to 20, and he's not played a single game. He's been in and out of matchday squads, not seen a single minute. It's like, well, what's the point in that? He posted that tweet saying, "Oh, God's timing's perfect" or something, and then didn't even make the bench, did he, for the game midweek?
No, in midweek he was on the bench, I think. Was he not? Maybe not. Actually.
No, I didn't make the squad.
True. I thought it was on the weekend. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, it is weird. I found that one a bit weird as well, but hey, what can you do? Getting to the front three then. Are we thinking any of them lot get a rest in terms of like an Aubameyang rest potentially, Aaron?
I think it played quite well midweek, so I wouldn't be surprised if it stays the same. To be honest, I'd probably keep it the same. But then if we're playing Sterling at the wing back, then I'd probably say Mount, Aubameyang. I'd like to see Aubameyang and Roya together, but again, I don't think it's going to happen. So I'd probably be Mount, Havertz, and Aubameyang.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say as well. That'll 100% be the front three if we play this, in my opinion.
Do we not think Aubameyang needs a rest at some point?
I feel like he's bigging him up too much that he doesn't get a rest because he's in such good goal-scoring form. He's like, well, you know,
you don't
I
want to take him out when he started firing.
Exactly. When Aubameyang's like this, I don't think you take him out. I feel like you just keep him in the rhythm, sort of thing.
Yeah, I agree. Actually, maybe he comes off after 60 this time, and Broja gets half an hour.
Yeah, Broja's going to get a start at one point, but I don't think it's going to be Wolves.
Yeah. I think it's like what you say about Mount when you drop him.
Mount needs dropping, you're saying?
No, it's kind of the same principle applies when we talk about when Mount gets dropped and he comes back, he doesn't play well. I think with Aubameyang, you don't want to drop him while he's got that momentum, because if you drop him, he might just come back and have lost all that momentum.
Yeah, I do agree. It's a difficult one. I mean, in terms of if I pick it myself, Mount was decent the other day. Havertz. The question is, should Havertz come back into it? Or should we maybe consider playing like Pulisic in this left area and Sterling keeping him in the forward areas?
Pulisic starting next joke.
It's true.
He's never. I feel like he's. Yeah, I feel like and I'm not even saying it as like offensive. Like I would like to see him start, but he just like next joke, he's not starting. There's no way.
Anyone for Ziyech? Ziyech start?
He's got even less bench yet, so he's even less likely than Pulisic.
Yeah, he's got even less chance, bro. Like. Nah, it's clear to see even early days who his kind of go-to guys are.
That is true, but surely he can't stick to the same go-to guys in every game. At some point, he needs to mix. I'm just a little bit concerned that if we keep the same team for a bit too long, then at some point there will come a game where we will need to rest 6 of them in the same game, and that's going to be too much. And then that causes us to drop points. And then maybe rest 1, 2, or 3 now, and then 2 or 3 another week, rather than 6 at once. And I feel like if we do this, at some point we will need to rest all at once.
Yeah, but it's not like that, though, Laurenz. Like, Havertz is coming back in. Aubameyang, Broja's been playing a lot. Like, the only real 2 that might need rest are Sterling, especially, and Mount. But if you look at Sterling's injury record, like he literally never
doesn't need a rest. He didn't start either of the England games.
Sterling's like one of the most durable players throughout his whole career. So I think that's why he's starting so much.
Yeah, no, Sterling. I don't think Sterling is the main concern here. I'm more thinking Aubameyang and Reece James, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's probably most likely going to be this, quite frankly. Would I pick it? I don't know. I'm still not 100% sure if I want a back three or a back four, or if I want a back three, do I want a 3-4-3 or a 3-5-2? I'm not 100% sure, if I'm being perfectly honest with you. But what I am sure about is that I really need us to win again tomorrow, because I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good about Chelsea. Things are good. So don't ruin it. Please don't ruin it, Chelsea. Let's just keep going. And then we win again on Tuesday, and then we win again next week, and then we just win all of our games between now and the World Cup, and we'd be over the moon. That's what I want. That's what I want to see. Boys, last thing, score predictions. Did we actually spend enough time on the Fofana thing? Maybe not. Just to clarify to people, he sprained his knee. People were like, what's a sprained knee? I'm not sure what a sprained knee is, but it's an injury that's not as bad as an ACL or an MCL or a meniscus. So it was better than we feared, I guess. So that's a positive. And, some people said, yeah, but it's still 4 weeks, which is true. It's still negative. But when you saw him walk off the way he did, when you saw him, if you saw the picture in his, him walking out the stadium in his knee brace, at that point, I'm like, well, minimum 2-3 weeks. And then we only got 4, maybe sooner. So in my point of view, that's a dub. Matt says here, to be fair, the potential sponsors thing. I can't remember, Pies. Were we just talking about this privately when you told me about these two names?
We did. Yeah, I wrote something on there earlier. Yeah.
There you go. I mean, yeah, it was reported by you that basically Chelsea have been slowly but surely getting into not only replacing personnel at Stamford Bridge with medical department, sport director, technical director, blah, 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 and manager, but also looking into potential new sponsorships. But all of that only really applies once our current sponsorship deals run out, right? And so before that, that's not really relevant. I'm not sure when all of them run out. And I mean, Wesley Fofana only started now. I'm not sure when Trivago runs out, but 3 might be at the end of the season. I'm not sure.
3 is at the end of the season, but yeah, I know they've already sort of like sent a couple of proposals out for some companies. Like they're already just planning in advance for that. Like there was a meeting last week at Cobham about it. I'm not sure exactly with, but yeah, there was definitely talks about it.
Fair dues. I mean, we got the lineup thing off the screen already, but just quickly, either of you, any sort of chance Gallagher might get some minutes, Aaron? Well,
it'll probably come off the bench, but definitely not starting.
No chance he starts.
Okay. No, absolutely not.
Pice, I mean, I know you're going to say no, but I have to ask you the question. Best. All right, then. Last thing.
Sorry, that sounded really harsh.
No, it's all good.
No, I mean,
your agenda, bro.
No, I don't know. I still don't rate him, but it is what it is, isn't it?
It is what it is. I mean, he scored us a good goal, so we'll take it. I mean, but yeah, score prediction. What are you feeling, Pice?
I'm gonna go 2-0. Don't think it'll be much more. I was gonna say 3-0, but I feel like 2 might push for a third, but we might not get it. I don't know. I'm quite confused actually, because again, like Wolves, like they've not got the manager. How are they going to play? They're either going to play absolutely shit, or they're just going to play out the world for their coaching staff. Like I don't actually know what sort of connection they have to those guys, because when Chelsea played under like Zolt Lowe and Arno Michaels, we still did pretty decent. So it just kind of depends what sort of mood and.
But Tuchel was still the manager then. He was just not allowed. He was just.
Yeah, but it's still different. Him not being there, like they don't have any like proper managers. So, another thing I was thinking was
ideas will still come from the manager, because the assistants, if the manager like Tuchel just wasn't there, but they were still in contact with him, phone and stuff, right? So it was still the manager's decisions. But now,
I guess completely. Yeah, I guess that's kind of true. But at the same time, like another thing I was thinking, which could be a bit of a negative for us, is like they might sort of play really well to show their next manager, because I'm pretty sure they're close to getting like Lopetegui or something. So yeah, you'd like to think like one of the first games he'd review is probably the Chelsea game, because it's a big club as well. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes, but I feel like we'll win.
There you go. You said 2-0, didn't you? Yeah. Aaron, what about you? You said 3-0 for Milan. You were spot on. What are you saying this time?
It's time to go back to back 3-0. Going for it again. It worked the one time. Might as well try it again.
Fair dues. And
the funny thing is about my 3-0, I went to the game with my friend. Before the game, we said, who's scoring? I said Aubameyang. I said, who's the one I got wrong? I think I said Loftus-Cheek, so I got that wrong. But then I said a wild card pick for my third is either Reece James or Fofana. So I got 3 of them, basically. so which was crazy, and the correct scoreline. So
and if Fofana didn't score, it would have been Ruben that scored because they literally both swung.
Exactly. So I pretty much almost got it, which was crazy. But
So who's
I'm
scoring
gonna go
against Wolves?
What are the lottery numbers?
Yeah, who's scoring against
mate.
Wolves? Come on.
We'll talk about that privately. I don't need everyone.
Yeah. Okay, Aaron. Yeah, but now you pick yourself up. You know, fraud watching that.
Listen,
3-0,
it's not a fraud watch. It's not a fraud watch because I'm the one that got the prediction right.
Nah,
Someone here predicted a
You're
draw.
an anti-fraud watch.
Someone here said 1-1.
Hey man, if you want me to go negative and it works every time, I'll just do it. It's cool.
I think that's exactly what we should do. Pi says 1-1 again.
Yeah,
Aaron says
can you
3-0
predict
again,
something
and I say
other than a
2-1
win?
again, and we're going to win 3-0.
Yeah, bro. I'm saying 3-0. I'm going with it again. Should
But
we do
Aaron,
goal scorers and shit as well, just to make it
who are you
interesting?
picking as goal scorers? Let's make it interesting.
Oh, okay. Let's make it interesting. All right, cool. So, wait, you lot go first, and then I'll come to mine. I'll go have a little think.
All right. I'll say 2-1 again, genuinely, because I just feel like it's written in the stars that Diego gets a goal late on, and we're 2-0 up by then, they get a goal, and then it finishes 2-1. That's
Yeah, but then it was written in the stars for Giroud to score, and he didn't.
Yeah, but he still has Tuesday, do you know what I mean?
Good point. Good point.
I'm saying Aubameyang, might as well. And I'll say... Mount. I'll say he'll get his first goal of the season. Price, well, your scorer prediction?
I said 2-0, so I got to think of 2.
Or it's 1 score 2.
True. You know, I might go with your.
I'm not sure if you unplugged your mic or if you muted yourself, but all of a sudden, halfway through the sentence, you stopped. Oh, Pies, I can't hear you anymore. I'm not sure what happened.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah,
now I can hear you again. Sorry, say that again. You
All
said
right.
you were going to say mine with Aubameyang and Mount.
Yeah, pretty much. I feel like Mount's going to score at some point, and Aubameyang's just on such a good streak that I feel like we might get a little Reece James cross or something again, you know. They were like just the start of the link-up, and I'm like, yeah, I can just see that. But I can also... The other one I was going to go with was Sterling, so... Yeah. Or actually, you know what? I might go with a Jorginho penalty because they happen randomly. So Jorginho penalty and Aubameyang I'm going to go with.
Fair.
Can we
like
just understand here that Jorginho penalty and Jorginho scoring a normal goal isn't the same thing? So if it's not a penalty and he scores, it don't count.
Yeah, but I don't think he has to worry that much because Jorginho scoring outside of a penalty is very unlikely.
What are the odds it happens now? Now that you've said that, what are the odds?
Nah, there's...
I don't know. You get the odds up.
Yeah. Put a £10 bet on that. You might be rich.
Oh, you might be
£10
£10 for it.
Outside the box, Jorginho goal.
Screamer. But Aaron, who are you picking? 3 goal scorers, 3 different ones? Someone getting a brace?
Yeah, I'm gonna go Aubameyang. I'm gonna go Chalobah as a bit of a rogue one, and I'm gonna say Kovacic as well. I just feel something in my bones.
My God, I'd be screaming if that happened.
We'll have to come back to this
will be
next
over the flipping
after
moon
the
anyway.
game.
There you
Okay.
go.
I'm feeling it. I don't know why.
There you go.
Maybe
I
if I
remember
speak it
this. I'll
into
come back to it
existence.
tomorrow. No, depending on, I'm not sure which one of you will be here or if any or whatever. But I will come back to this regardless of whether you are here or not. And I'll see. Either I'll slate you or I'll big you up. We'll see.
Listen,
But,
I've
ladies
got
and
my
gentlemen, I
merit for
think-
the week. You can't slate me.
I can.
Nah, come on.
Okay, I'll slate you nicely.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, if you get one on, I'll let you off. But if you get none right, then you're on fraud watch as well.
Nah, that's not happening. I'm not Bertram.
No. There you go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I think it's about time we round this out here. Took longer than I expected, in all honesty. But we did also have quite a lot of news to cover at the very beginning of the stream. Big shout out, Pice. Big shout out, Aaron. Please do check out Pice's website, chelseafc365.com. Link is down in the description. Please check it out for all sorts of Chelsea news, left, right, and centre, including an article on potential new sponsorship stuff, if you want to check that out. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, subscribe if you haven't already. That'd be massively appreciated. If you're new here, not subscribe. Smash that like button if you haven't done that yet. Doesn't cost you any money, costs you barely any time, and really helps me spread these videos out to more people. So I massively appreciate that. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Up the Chelsea, upwards and onwards, and I'll see you next time.